أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Once again, we welcome everyone to our program, and today we shall be discussing the essence of charity in Ramadan. Charity in the month of Ramadan is an important subject. Therefore, the need to discuss this subject in the light of the Holy Quran and the tradition of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the writings of the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasallam. Fundamentally, Islam promotes charity as one of the good deeds expected of a believer. Indeed, charity is a fraction of the whole injunctions to the believers in the Holy Quran regarding spending from what Allah the Almighty has provided for him. That is in Quran chapter 2 verse 4, where the Almighty Allah said that الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. That is, those who believe in the unseen and observe their prayer and spend of that which we've provided for them. It is a voluntary act that is done to improve the condition of the indigent in the society with a view to acquiring the love and pleasure of Allah the Almighty. Specifically, the Holy Quran portrayed the sentiments of the believers to charity in the following beautiful words: وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. This is found in Quran chapter 76, verse 9 to 10. The meaning is, and they feed for love of him, the poor, the orphan, and the prisoners, saying, we feed you for Allah's pleasure only. We desire no reward nor thanks from you. It is a common saying that experience is the best teacher. Therefore, fasting provides the affluent believers with the experience of starvation that most vulnerable people often go through on a daily basis. This consequently draws their attention to helping the less privileged brothers in the larger society. In this regard, the one with the greatest experience of starvation was the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and correspondingly, he was the most generous person among mankind. He was more generous in Ramadan, as reported in the tradition. The hadith states that عن أبي عباس رضي الله عنهما قال كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أجود الناس وكان أجود ما يكون في رمضان حين يلقاه جبريل وكان جبريل يلقاه في كل ليلة من رمضان فيدارسه القرآن فرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حين يلقاه جبريل أجود بالخير من الريح المرسلة متفق عليه. This hadith is found in both Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. Ibn Abbas related that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the most generous of men, and he was so bountiful during Ramadan when Gabriel visited him every night and recited the Holy Quran to him. During this period, the bounty of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam worked faster than the rain-bearing storm. Similarly, there is a long tradition on the blessings of fasting, in which the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has exhorted believers to pay attention to charity during fasting. He says, anyone who feeds a fasting person at the time of breaking his fast will have his sins remitted, will be shed from fire, and will earn reward equivalent to that earned by the person who fasted, without the latter suffering any reduction, which means both of them will have the same reward. If the person fasted has obtained 100 reward for his fasting, the same person will also be rewarded with 10 or so. So we asked the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that not many of us could afford to help feed a fasting person. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied that this kind of reward will be available even if a little quantity of milk, yogurt or water was offered at the time of breaking the fast. Anyone who fed a satisfying meal to a fasting person will be offered drinks from my springs, so that he will never suffer any taste to the day he enters paradise. This is Shu'ab al-Iman. When we ponder over this beautiful exhortation of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we will realize that it has opened a healthy competition for believers. The benefit that is attached to providing iftar, either light or heavy, it requires that we should be vying to provide such to one or more number of our brothers. There is no gainsaying the fact that these items are within the capacity of many of us. Moreover, it is established from another tradition that date is a good item for breaking fast. Hence, this should be added to the list of milk, yogurt, and water. At the same time, all sorts of fruits are also applicable. Furthermore, we will remember that there is a tradition of offering sadaqatul fitri before the end of Ramadan. This is to ensure that the less privileged Muslim and people in the society have enough to celebrate the Eid festival with regard to food and other needs. They are also human like us. We also have to feed them. We must be prepared to complete this payment in good time. The rate for this year, fitrana, we call it either fitrana, sadaqatul fitri, or zakatul fitri. But here in our Jamaat, Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, we fixed it to be 400 naira per head for every member of a family. However, those who cannot afford this full rate are expected to pay the half rate of 200 naira per head, multiplying by the number of the members of the family. Similarly, in Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, which is the community of the ardent devotee of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was raised for the final victory of Islam over all other religions through the love, persuasion, convincing arguments, and prayers, there is a tradition of completing our promises of Tariq-e-Jadid contribution before the end of this month. This is a fund dedicated to propagating the light of Islam throughout the world. This is a reminder to members of the Jamaat who will always fulfill their promises in Ramadan to sow. Consequently, those who fulfill their promise will receive the special prayer of Azza Khalifatul Masih, Ayadullah Ta'ala bin Azil Aziz. May Almighty Allah strengthen him with his mighty hand, which will be made at the last day of Ramadan, following the Darus al-Quran session. As a Khalifatul Masih, may Allah be his helper, as mentioned, the generosity of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as illustrated by the promised Messiah alayhi salam. He said, in every aspect of life, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam demonstrated the highest example of his moral qualities, which is obligatory for a believer to follow according to his capacity and capability. A time came when the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam possessed such a large flock of sheep, which even the emperors, the Kisra, the Khosrow, did not even possess, and he gave them all to a beggar. This is the demonstration of his moral conduct. This is a Friday sermon delivered by Hazrat Khalifatul Masih on June 9, 2017. The promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam, while commenting on the importance of charity, said, in the science of the interpretation of dream, wealth is represented by one's liver. This is why giving alms is equivalent to giving away one's life, as it were. When the person gives charity, it exhibits an immense degree of sincerity and steadfastness. However, the fact of the matter is that mere words are of no use until they are supported by practice. So the reason charity is called sadaqah in Arabic is because it is the hallmark of the truthful, which is the Siddiqi. This is found in Malfuzot, the English version, volume 1 of it, page 243. There is a tradition of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in which Allah the Almighty has promised to reward those who are given to performing voluntary services regularly and willingly with his presence in their various endeavors. This is found in Bukhari, Kitab al-Riqa, Babu Tawwab. The promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam has movingly commented on this particular hadith and said, this hadith expounds that the saints of Allah perfect their religious obligation through the observance of voluntary acts of worship. For example, in addition to zakat, they also give charity. Allah the Exalted becomes the friend of such people and state that this relation grows to such intimacy that it becomes the hands, feet, etc. of such a person. In fact, it even becomes the tongue with which a person speaks. That is found in Mavusot, volume 1, page 14. It will interest our respected viewers to note that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has further opened the door of partaking in charity to every believer when it included various good deeds apart from material and monetary support among the divination of charity. These include to help the needy, to perform all that is good and keep away from all that is evil, to meet people with a smiling face, to promote good deeds, and to prevent others from doing evil, to guide a person with defective vision, to remove troublesome things like thorns and bones from the road, to pour water from your vessel into the vessel of your brother. And this is reported in Sahih Bukhari. As Khalifatul Masih the fifth, may Allah be his helper, while commenting on the positive effect of charity on the society, said, when fasting is based on taqwa, which is righteousness, it produced a beautiful society, creating a spirit of sacrifice for each other. One is drawn to the needs of one's underprivileged brothers. And this is very important because it was the blessed model of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that during Ramadan, his alms giving and charity will gain intense momentum like a gale storm. This becomes a source of removing anxiety from society and creates feelings of empathy for the less fortunate among those who are well off, and feeling of love and gratefulness in the hearts of underprivileged believers for their well-off brothers. It is therefore necessary for every believer to practice this important teaching exceedingly in these blessed days of Ramadan, as well as to assist many families that are struggling for survival due to the effect of the lockdown occasioned by coronavirus pandemic. Allah the Almighty will surely reward every sincere effort in this regard according to his promise. May God Almighty Allah avert this sovereign battling the world through our prayers and fasting and sadaqah, sacrifice in his way. May Almighty Allah accept our prayers and all our ibadah in this blessed month of Ramadan. And may he ease this serious sovereign facing the world at large. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.